The other thing that seems to have happened with people, if you've got big players operating around the world, is the actual market's changing.
Yeah.
So can you say a bit about how the markets have changed? Whether, because again, China being huge, but very difficult to get into, how's that affecting what people are making?
I think what we're seeing, and inevitably, you know, wake up, Brexit, sorry, is we live in one world. Totally. And people communicate with each other increasingly as if the boundaries and borders that exist as far as languages, culture, place, they're important at a personal level, but they're not universally there to be enforced in the way that they were even 20 or 30 years ago. That's why the whole European debate is just crap. It's just mad. You can't go backwards. You cannot go backwards. We live in a world. The world turns that way. It doesn't turn that way, and you've got to go with it. So this question of global communication and communication generally and stories is that we will progress rapidly now towards a universality of storytelling, and that's already happened. I mean, you know, Hollywood to some extent, it's not particularly attractive asphalt, but it's already laid the roads in terms of what they kind of look like. And you know, people generating the pulp hero movies out of the US and spreading them and distributing them around the world have to be aware. You know, they're aware that those stories and those characters, you have to be able to understand them wherever you are, whatever language you speak. You have to get it. You have to get it. Unfortunately, what you end up with is the philosophy there is, if it worked once, do it again, do it again, do it again. And just end up repeating rather than exploring, which is very, very tedious.
Making the same, keeping the concept and making it again in a different language, like they've done with, say, The Bridge, or...
Well, what they do most simplistically is they spend $200–300 million on a movie and they dub it. But they make sure what they're interested in is, can they get a return out of this title and out of these characters globally? Can we make sure that everybody gets what this story is about? So they're looking constantly at the universals that everybody understands. Love, death, mystery, suspense, action. You know, those are the things that those films inevitably have to work within a certain kind of template. It's also true that there's a lack of imagination about expanding that template, and that may be where television is going. Television programming is going to get the advance that film kind of gets stuck with, where it ends up in a loop, just doing another hero movie after another hero movie. And there is a tendency, and you can see this, is the philosophy there is, if it did work once, we'll do it again that way. And when you're doing a 16, 20, 22 part series, you have to move on. You can't just go back to episode 1 and repeat it. You have to keep the story moving forward. And I think what we've seen with, to some extent, the inroads that Netflix have made and some of the other global distributors is, we've seen a situation where the appetite for television content is expanding really rapidly, and for top-end television content like Game of Thrones, House of Cards, you know, the big titles, those are completely global now. They're totally global titles.